What if your quiet life as a seamstress holds the key to saving your village from darkness? The Threads of Twilight is a magical adventure, brimming with mysteries, bravery, and the power of friendship. Meet Nyra, a young seamstress with dreams of adventure, who finds herself woven into a destiny far beyond her imagination. When an ancient evil awakens in the shadows of the mystical forest, everything she loves hangs in the balance. Join her on a quest filled with fearsome creatures and unbreakable bonds. Failure means more than losing a battle. It could unravel everything she holds dear. This is Chapter 1 of the Threads of Twilight. Let the journey begin.
Chapter 1. The Threads of Twilight. Nyra sits at her wooden sewing table in her small, cozy workshop, surrounded by vibrant threads and stacks of colorful fabrics. The morning light filters through the window, casting a warm glow across her workspace. With focused precision, she guides her needle through layers of fabric, her fingers deftly dancing as she stitches intricate patterns that reflect her dreams and desires. Each pull of the thread feels like a release, a moment of expression that grounds her amidst the mundane rhythms of village life. As her mind drifts into the designs she weaves, a thread tangles under her fingers, jolting her from her reverie. A sigh escapes her lips. She glances at the clock hanging on the wall. Reminders of the festival buzz outside tug at her awareness. She hears the vibrant sounds of celebrations, laughter, music, and the faint aroma of baked goods wafting through the open window. Her heart flutters with a mix of eagerness and restlessness. If only she could indulge in the festivities rather than be tied to her needle and thread. Yet the tapestry she's creating feels more than just fabric. It's a reflection of her longing, perhaps for adventure, or something greater than what the village can offer. Maybe just a little longer, she whispers to herself, attempting to refocus on her work. But the pull of the festival leaves her fingertips trembling with worry. Will the day pass her by, as it always does? Determined to finish this piece, she inhales deeply, cherishing the textures of fabric in her hands, as if they hold the key to her desires. She deftly maneuvers the needle, stitching her hopes into every thread, but a nagging doubt lingers. What truly awaits her outside these four walls? Malin bursts into the workshop, her energy crackling like the festival outside. "Nyra!" she exclaims, her eyes alight with excitement. "You're missing out on the festival." Nyra looks up, momentarily distracted. Malin's infectious enthusiasm sweeps through the room, pulling her gaze away from the fabric in her hands. The lively sounds of the festival filter in from outside, laughter and music blending together, inviting her to join the revelry. Malin leans over the sewing table, reaching for the colorful fabrics. "You're always locked away in here. There's so much life out there. Nyra chuckles softly, but a faint tug of longing fills her. I'm sure it's great, but I have to finish this piece, she responds, her voice tinged with regret. Malin tosses some fabric scraps into the air, playful mischief dancing in her eyes. Come on, just for a little while. You need to see what you're missing. Nyra's heart aches with indecision. The festival promises joy and connection, yet the tapestry she creates anchors her to her dreams. With a hesitant smile, she contemplates the warmth of outside compared to the color of her work. I wish I could, she murmurs, but the weight of her ambitions pulls her deeper into her task. As Malin continues to coax her, Nyra feels a conflict bubbling beneath her calm exterior. The thought of the festival dances in her mind, enticing her with promises of laughter and friendship. Malin catches Nyra's distant gaze and leans in closer, her voice softening. You're so serious about your work. You need to relax, to live a little. Nyra's brow furrows at the underlying truth in Malin's words. I wish I could just step away, but if I do, it'll never get done, she admits. The weight of expectations settling heavily in her heart. The threads twisted in her fingers feel heavier, as if they sense her frustration. What if it's no good? What if no one appreciates it? She suddenly blurts out, vulnerability slipping through her usually guarded demeanor. Malin's playful tone shifts to concern. You're more talented than you realize. Let's go make memories today, and the tapestry can wait. Nyra hesitates, caught between her longing for connection and the fear of unworthiness, feeling the threads of her purpose tugging at her soul. Taking a deep breath, Nyra steels herself, choosing to push through her doubts. Maybe just for a little while, she concedes, a spark of excitement igniting in her chest at the thought of stepping outside her workshop. Gathering her essential items, she feels the anticipation swell within her, a blend of fear and exhilaration as she prepares to cross the threshold. With each item she packs, her sketchbook, a few rolls of fabric, and the precious stone she had crafted, memories of her childhood hopes flicker in her mind. Malin watches with a grin, clearly thrilled that Nyra has chosen to join her. Finally, that's the Nyra I know, she exclaims, bouncing on her heels as they step outside, the vibrant colors of the festival greeting them like an embrace. As they walk together, Nyra glances back at her workshop one last time, the familiar space receding, and she feels a bittersweet ache. She lets the sounds of the festival wash over her, ready to embrace whatever adventures await, feeling an exhilarating sense of possibility. As they step into the festival, Nyra is immediately engulfed by a whirlwind of color and sound. Brightly painted stalls line the streets, each adorned with vibrant decorations and enticing wares. Laughter dances in the air, melding with the sweet melodies of musicians performing nearby. Nyra feels her heart race at the sight of children running, their faces painted with joy, and adults engaging enthusiastically in games and dances. Malin pulls her closer to a stall selling pastries, the scent of baked goods wafting tantalizingly, making her stomach growl. Let's grab something to eat. You need fuel for your adventures. Malin grins, her excitement contagious, and Nyra can't help but smile back. As they share a treat, Nyra begins to feel the weight of her earlier doubts lift, replaced by a growing thrill at being a part of something vibrant and alive. She takes a deep breath, soaking in every moment. Her senses awakened to the joys of life outside her workshop. As they move through the festival, Nyra's heart swells with a newfound sense of belonging. She watches the lively exchanges among villagers, their faces illuminated with joy, and begins to feel a flicker of hope ignite within her. Suddenly, Malin pulls her toward a group of musicians. their lively rhythms captivating passers-by. And Nyra can't help but tap her foot in time with the beat. "Let's join them!" Malin exclaims, her enthusiasm infectious. And with a nervous laugh, Nyra follows her lead, feeling lighter with every step. Caught up in the energy, they dance, smiles plastered across their faces. And for the first time in a long while, Nyra feels like she is truly living. In that moment, surrounded by laughter and music, she realizes that the tapestry she weaves in her workshop is only one thread of many in the fabric of life. And there is so much more to explore. With every joyful encounter, Nyra understands that her fears are only invitations to embrace adventure. And today, she chooses to step boldly into the vibrant tapestry of her community. Chapter 2: The Awakening Journey. The sun casts long shadows as Nyra walks through the village the day after the festival, a sense of excitement bubbling within her. The rich aromas of baked bread and fresh herbs waft through the air, enticing her to pause at the market stalls lining the path. She greets familiar faces, exchanging smiles and friendly waves, still riding the high from the previous day's festivities. As she moves forward, she overhears a group of villagers discussing strange occurrences in the forest, disruptions that have left them uneasy and fearful. Curiosity piqued, she approaches them, her mind racing with thoughts of her own experiences during their journey. "Can you tell me more? What have you seen?" she asks, eager to gather information that could guide her next steps. The villagers share tales of odd lights flickering in the woods and unsettling sounds echoing through the night, igniting a sense of urgency in Nyra's heart. She realizes that this newfound knowledge could hold the key to understanding the disturbances and propelling her forward in her quest. With the villagers' tales swirling in her mind, Nyra heads back to her workshop, determined to piece together the puzzle of the disturbances. She throws open the door, the smell of wood and fabric enveloping her as she hurriedly gathers her notes and sketches from the recent encounters. Flipping through her sketches, she recalls the glowing markings from the ancient altar and how they might connect with the villagers' accounts of strange lights. Could this be a clue? She murmurs to herself, excitement sparking within her as new ideas form. Nyra realizes she needs to consult the map for any patterns or links between the disturbances and their recent journey. She spreads the map across the table, tracing her finger along the intricate routes, searching for the places where her experiences might align with the villager stories. The feeling of potential discovery motivates her. She senses that connecting these dots could lead her closer to understanding the truth, and maybe even to a solution. As Nyra studies the map, a knock at the door interrupts her focus. She looks up, a blend of curiosity and impatience swirling inside her as she folds the map carefully. Opening the door, she finds Garrett, the merchant from the tavern, standing with an air of purpose, his brow furrowed as if burdened by heavy thoughts. "Nyra, I need to speak with you," he states, his voice low and serious, immediately drawing her attention to whatever urgency lies beneath his words. "Come in." Garrett expresses his desperation, but seems insecure, announced that night. "Anything I need, you say?" Nyra looks up, a blend of curiosity and impatience swirling inside her. Opening the door, she finds Garrett, the merchant from the tavern, standing with an air of purpose. "Nyra, I need to speak with you," the merchant from the tavern. Opening the door, she finds Garrett, the merchant from the tavern, standing with an air of purpose, his brow furrowed as if burdened by heavy thoughts. "Come in," he states, his voice low and serious. She replies, stepping aside to let him enter, her mind racing with possibilities about what he could want. As he crosses the threshold, she senses the gravity of his presence. Recognizing that he may hold information crucial to her quest. "I've heard whispers about the disturbances in the forest, and I fear they could pose a greater danger than anyone understands," he says, leaning in closer, his expression earnest. The wristbreak finally growl. All that time, she could simply see breathing aspects, and all that time, she could not breathe by simply saying. Then she turned to his map, which only became difficult to unlock. As he fell, he instantly turned. Legend unfolded. "I heard whispers about the disturbances in the forest, and I fear they could pose a greater danger than anyone understands," he says, leaning in closer, his expression earnest. "I've heard whispers about the disturbances in the forest, and I fear they could—" Garrett takes a moment, gathering his thoughts before continuing. "I believe the creatures you faced are being influenced by something darker, a force that is awakening in the depths of the forest." Nyra feels a chill run down her spine, realizing the implications of his words. "What do you mean?" she asks, her heart quickening as her instincts prick with concern. "The altar you encountered, there are stories of it being a source of power that could attract dangerous entities. If those creatures are drawn to it, they could become an even greater threat." Nyra processes this revelation, the weight of their mission deepening in her mind. "We need to find out how to stop this before it escalates," she replies, her voice resolute, feeling the flicker of fear transform into determination. Garrett nods, recognizing her intent. "That's why I'm here. I have contacts on the outskirts that might help us understand more about this force. Drawn to it, they could become an even greater threat." Nyra processes this revelation, the weight of their mission deepening in her mind. Garrett nods, recognizing her intent. "That's why I'm here. I have contacts on the outskirts that might help us understand more about this force. If those creatures are drawn to it, they could become an even greater threat." Nyra processes this revelation, the weight of their mission deepening in her mind. That's why I'm here. I have contacts on the outskirts that might help us understand more about this force. Garrett nods, recognizing her intent. That's why I'm here. I have contacts on the outskirts that might help us understand more, but we must move quickly. But we must move quickly. If those creatures are drawn to it, they could become an even greater threat. Garrett nods, recognizing her intent. That's why I'm here. I have contacts on the outskirts that might help us understand more about this force. If those creatures are drawn to it, they could become an even greater threat that could attract dangerous entities. Nyra takes a deep breath, processing the urgency of Garrett's words. Let's gather the group. We'll need everyone's strength to face whatever lies ahead, she declares, feeling a sense of clarity in her role as leader. Garrett nods, his features softening as he recognizes her resolve. I'll help you rally them. The sooner we move, the better. They quickly head out together, traversing the familiar village streets. But Nyra feels the weight of responsibility following her with every step. Approaching her companions, she calls out, "Gather around. We have important news about the disturbances in the forest." As the group begins to assemble, Nyra feels both anxious and confident, determined to share what she has learned and forge a collective plan to confront the looming threat. Her heart races with a blend of urgency and purpose, sensing the bond between her and her friends strengthen as they prepare to face the unknown together. As her companions gather, Nyra stands at the forefront, feeling the weight of their eyes upon her, a mix of expectation and concern reflected in their expressions. I've spoken with Garrett, and we've learned that the disturbances in the forest are connected to an awakening darkness, she begins, her voice steady but tinged with urgency. The group listens intently, absorbing the implications of her words, and she can sense their unease growing. We need to act quickly. I propose that we seek out Garrett's contacts on the outskirts who might know more about this threat, Nyra continues, feeling determination welling up within her. Malin steps forward, her brows furrowed in contemplation. But what if this information leads us into a trap? We can't risk losing anyone else. Feeling the tension in the air, Nyra responds, I understand your fear, but if we don't confront this, the danger will only grow. We owe it to ourselves and our village to find answers. As her words hang in the air, Nyra notices nods of agreement from some group members, the collective resolve beginning to form as they rally around her leadership. Chapter 3. The Convergence of Fates. The sun hung low in the sky, casting golden rays across the bustling village as Nyra led her companions toward the forest edge. The air buzzed with excitement and a hint of apprehension as the group advanced, fueled by the urgency of their mission. Nyra felt her heart race in tandem with the thrum of the village life behind them. Memories of laughter and warmth melding with the weight of their responsibility. "Stay close and keep alert," she urged, glancing back at her allies, their expressions a mixture of determination and doubt. As they arrived at the tree line, the familiar path transformed into something wild and daunting, the shadows of the trees stretching ominously before them. Nyra took a deep breath, steeling herself against the waves of uncertainty that lapped at her resolve. She could feel the vibrant energy of the stone pulsing softly at her side, a reminder of the power they sought to harness. As they venture deeper into the woods, Nyra takes careful note of her surroundings, the vibrant colors of the forest contrasting sharply with the darker undertones she senses lurking within. The path is narrow and winding, lined with trees that seem to close in around them as if beckoning them further into the unknown. "Keep your eyes open. Any strange markings or signs could indicate more about what we're up against," she instructs, her voice steady but laced with urgency. Malin nods, peering into the dense foliage as if trying to intuit what the forest might be hiding. Suddenly, as they approach a larger tree with gnarled roots and a hollow trunk, Nyra spots a series of cryptic symbols carved into the bark, glowing faintly in the dim light. "This might be a clue," she whispers, fascinated by the interplay of magic and nature, feeling a surge of excitement mixed with apprehension as she reaches out to touch the markings. As Nyra's fingers brush against the carvings, a rush of energy pulses through her, igniting a spark of understanding within her. She feels the connection between her own journey and the stories etched into the bark, as if the tree is whispering secrets of the forest to her. "Malin, come look at this," she exclaims, her voice filled with awe, beckoning her friend closer to the ancient tree. Malin approaches, her eyes widening as she studies the symbols. "I've seen those before in the village, but I didn't know they were here," she remarks, recognition flashing across her face. Nyra's heart races as she considers the implications. These markings could hold the key to uncovering the truth about the disturbances. "Let's document them and see if they align with the map we found. Maybe they lead us to what we're looking for," Nyra proposes, eager to turn this discovery into a pivotal moment for their quest. As they document the symbols, a rustling noise nearby captures Nyra's attention, causing her to glance toward the source of the sound, her heart racing. The tension in the air thickens. She exchanges a wary look with Malin, who grips her arm tightly, silently urging caution. "Maybe it's just the wind," Nyra begins, trying to convince herself, but the feeling of being watched sends an electric thrill of dread through her. Just then, a creature steps into view, a sleek, shadowy figure lurking among the underbrush, its eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. Nyra's breath catches in her throat. It resembles the beasts they had faced before, but there's a different energy radiating from it, as if it is drawn to the symbols on the tree, Stay behind me, she instructs Malin, while instinctively moving herself in front, embodying the courage she's cultivated throughout her journey. Ready to confront whatever comes their way, the creature hesitates, its intent unclear, as Nyra stands her ground, heart pounding with a mix of fear and determination. Malin, keep an eye on our surroundings, she whispers, her voice steady, despite the turmoil within. The creature takes a cautious step closer, snuffling the air as if assessing the situation, and Nyra feels the pulse of energy from the tree intensify in response. Maybe it's not aggressive, Malin suggests quietly, her voice trembling. The creature hesitates, its intent unclear, as Nyra stands her ground, heart pounding with a mix of fear and determination. Maybe it's not aggressive, Malin suggests quietly, her voice trembling, Maybe it's not aggressive, Malin suggests quietly, her voice trembling. Maybe it's not aggressive. I think something we can learn from this enchanting world is that, unsure whether to hope for peace or prepare for conflict, Nyra focuses on the glowing symbols, deciding to take a chance. Let's see if it responds to this, she murmurs, carefully taking a step forward, while extending her hand toward the creature, the magical stone glowing brightly in her palm. As the energy radiates toward the creature, it pauses, tilting its head with curiosity, and Nyra senses a shift, realizing this moment could determine their fate in the forest. With her heart in her throat, Nyra keeps her hand steady, channeling the energy from the stone, its glow casting a warm light in the shadowy forest. The creature, still on edge, watches her intently, its bright eyes reflecting the stone's light as it inches closer, drawn by the pulsating energy. Easy now, she whispers, her voice calm and soothing, willing the creature to sense her intentions. Malin holds her breath, unsure of what the next moment will bring, gripping Nyra's arm, her anxiety palpable. As the distance closes, Nyra feels an unexpected connection, a flicker of understanding that this creature is not just a beast, but part of the forest's magic. In a breathtaking moment of clarity, Nyra realizes that harnessing this bond could lead to answers about the disturbance, and she whispers, "We're not here to harm you.